What is up, everybody? Welcome to Pub Sports Radio and welcome to the DFS Picks and Prediction Show. Be sure to tune in every Wednesday, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, where me, Weezy, Luke, and MMA Monk are going to talk about the upcoming card from a DFS perspective and give our predictions on the fights as well. Also, be sure to subscribe here to Pub Sports Radio so not miss out on all the other content throughout the week. And as always, we're going to go back and forth throughout the panel to talk about our fights to target, fight to fade, fighter to fade, favorite dog, favorite GPP play, favorite cash play, favorite value play, favorite dart throw. Go through our lineups, see who won last week. We'll talk about our new lineups for this week, give our quick picks, and answer any question you guys have. So, no Luke today, but we have me, Weezy, and Monk. Weezy, we'll start with you. Looking forward to UFC 270.
Hell yeah. This is such a good card. 13 great fights. A heavyweight banger, a flyweight banger, and then we got, 11 other fights where there are some really great spots, some favorites that I love, some dogs that I love. A lot of ways to get different this week. It's a great slate for sharp GPP players as well. So I can't wait to get into all the stats with you guys.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a fun card and fun slate for sure. Monk, how about you? Looking forward to the card?
100%. What's up, fellas? What's up, Luke? Hope you're feeling better. Absolutely looking forward to this card, man. I mean, I don't have to tell you, the two main event fights are insanely ridiculous. We got some super wide lines. I'm feeling some really chalky plays here, so we'll try to give you some good pointers going in for your cores this week. Let's go.
Let's do it. Yeah, should be a little bit of a shorter show since we're only running with 3 this week, but I do want to shout out the chat. Raw Torque, what is up? What's good, fellas? What is up, Raw? We have Boston Nick. What's up, buddy? Saying, let's go. I agree. Let's go. Before we get started, if you guys can please leave a like, subscribe here to Pub Sports. It'd be much, much appreciated. I say we get into it. And as always, we'll start with our fight to target. Monk, we'll kick it off with you. What is your favorite fight to target for UFC 270?
Well, this shouldn't come as too much of a surprise, but I'm going for the Ilia Topuria Charles Jourdain fight. Ilia should take this thing, no problem. But Charles Jourdain is no slouch. He proved in his last fight, and even the few fights before that he is here to fight, not only for your money if you're betting on him, but for that Draftkings salary as well. And he's coming in with the lowest salary on the card. So if something happens there, or if this gets extended all 3 rounds, he could put up a decent score. And if he gets that W, he's going to get a ton of value. Now, Topuria, that's the obvious choice. I mean, he is very chalky, $9,400. But I mean, you're getting one of the highest projected values, in my opinion, on the card. The absolute highest average value on out of all fighters on this card. A pretty high ceiling, and nothing's ever a lock, but Topuria going against short notice Jourdain. I really like Topuria here.
I like it. I'm definitely with you there. I think it's going to be one of the most exciting fights on the card. Cannot wait for Topuria to get right back in there. And so, same with Jourdain. I like him as well. Weezy, how about you? What is your favorite fight to target for this card?
So I'm going to go with Moreno versus Figgy. God, I'm so sick of saying Deiveson and trying to spell it and trying to spell Figueiredo. It's got to be one of the hardest names to spell in the entire UFC. I was looking at my advanced stats, laughing my ass off, looking at Brandon Moreno's list of opponents, and I spelled it's Deiveson Figueiredo, Deiveson Figueiredo, Deiveson Figueiredo, and I spelled Deiveson 3 different ways in 3 consecutive lines, and Figueiredo 3 different ways. I have no idea how to spell that name, but
It's that you.
Dude, it's so hard, but I know how to spell points, baby. And let me tell you something. Both of these guys rack them up. They got a really high-paced fighting style, both of them. They both have power in their strikes. They're both very efficient wrestlers. I see this, being a lot of scrambling, a lot of takedowns, a lot of hard strikes landing. One of the reasons I like this fight the most, when I was sorting all of the lines for this particular card, the Moreno-Figueiredo fight has got the 6th best fight doesn't go to decision line. So it normally wouldn't be something I would say to target, but I also feel it kind of is the fight where, as long as Figueiredo comes in healthy and he's made weight and is on point, I think both of these guys have the highest floors out of the 2 fighters in the fights where they're favored to finish inside the distance. I could see either of these guys scoring easily over 50 points in a loss. So, that's going to be the fight I'm going to target. They're both high scoring. It's a pretty good inside the distance line, but I think they both have great floors, which makes it a great fight to target as a whole.
Yep, I went with Moreno Figgy as well, and you talked about it. I mean, I just think at these price tags, 8,500 for Moreno and 7,700 for Figgy, I just think it's too good to pass up, and I think it's going to be tough for the winner not to find his way on the optimal lineup because we've seen him fight twice, and each time they scored well over 90 points in a win. And the first fight, Figgy scored, I think it was. Let me go double check. I think Figgy scored. Yeah, it was 68. So if he would have got the win in the draw, it would have been 98. And then Moreno in his win against Figgy, he scored 97. So I think, kind of the same thing. I think the winner's going to score around 90, 100 plus there. So I'm right there with you. I think this fight is definitely one to target. Move on to the fight to fade. For me, this is a really, really tough one to pick one to fade. And I don't think I'm going to completely fade a fight, but if I was going to, I think it's going to be the Syed Nurmagomedov Cody Stamann fight there. Syed Nurmagomedov 8,600, Cody Stamann 7,600. And I will have some Stamann. I do like Stamann as a dog, but I think it's like the worst inside the distance line on the entire slate. I think in a Syed win, he's not going to go for takedowns. He's not going to get control time. He's going to want to keep it on the feet, stay at range and outstrike a very tough Cody Stamann and probably win decision. If anything, I would lean towards the Stamann side as a DraftKings play because he's somebody that can go out there and get takedowns. But if I had to pick one fight to fade, I think it'd be this one, but I'm not going to completely fade it because I actually do like Stamann a decent amount. Weezy, how about you? What is your fight to fade for 270?
Yeah, it's hard to pick one to fade, and it breaks my heart to fade a fight that's in the middle salary range, especially this week when there are so many big favorites. But I'm saying Giles Morales this week. Both of these guys are low output fighters for sure. I never saw Morales use his wrestling before his DWCS fight, and Trevin Giles is nothing in there. It's the fourth worst fight, doesn't go to decision line on the slate. And you combine that with both guys' low output styles, and I could see this being a low scoring fight that goes to decision. When I watched the tape on Morales in particular, before that Dana White Contender Series fight, I watched like 5 or 6 of his fights. I never even saw him shoot for one takedown. And he's kind of like Trevin Giles in that he'll just stand in front of his opponent and, try to pick them apart. He does land with power, but this is a big step up in competition for him. And Trevin Giles only throws 6 significant strike attempts per minute. And I think he's only attempted 10 takedowns in like 8 UFC fights. So, yeah, it's really kind of hard to see either one of these guys. Potentially Morales uses the wrestling, but I could see this being a very low output striking battle that goes to decision. So I'm going to try to avoid it.
Yeah, I think this fight could be one of the most boring fights on the card, honestly. Monk, how about you? What are you looking to fade for this week?
Real quick, shout out Ron Sizzle 402 in the house. I'm originally from Omaha, so shout out Nebraska. I am going Vanessa Demopoulos and Silvana Gomez Juarez, just for the reason this is the third, I think, lowest inside the distance prop on the card, somewhere around there. We haven't seen much from either of these women here. Where's my stats? Gomez Juarez got smashed last time out. She gave up almost 9 DraftKings points per minute in the 4.5 minutes that she was fighting against Lupe Godinez. Mm-hmm. I do not expect a repeat performance of that terrible of a caliber again from her. But I don't expect anyone to finish. I don't expect there to be a ton of action. Pretty easy fade in my opinion there.
Yeah, that was definitely my top 3 to fade as well. So it looks like we're all picking a different fight, which is good. I like that. We'll move on to the fighter to fade. I'll keep this one short. I'm sticking with my fight to fade. Syed Nurmagomedov 8,600, same points. I think if he wins, it's going to be a decision. I don't see him knocking out Stamann, and I don't see him grappling, getting takedowns, control time. I think if I was to fade somebody, it would be Syed Nurmagomedov there at 8,600. Monk, how about you? Who are you fading for this week?
I'll go ahead. I had Victor. Yeah, I'm going to pick Victor Henry. I mean, he's a very low salary, obviously, but I think there's pretty much zero chance he beats Ioni Barcelos here. Barcelos has been chomping at the bit for this fight. We talked about it before we started this video. We've covered this fight like 3 times a piece, probably on each of our channels. Keeps getting pushed back. So I know Barcelos is really looking for the win. If he gets a quick one, he can jump right back in there. So yeah, I'm fading Victor Henry pretty hard here. Also, he has no UFC experience. So, hey, if he comes out and starches Barcelos, I guess I'll be as shocked as anybody. So, but for now, I'll be fading him.
Makes sense. Yeah, I won't have much Henry myself. Weezy, how about you? Is there a fighter you're fading this week?
Yeah, for me, it's going to be Silvana Gomez Suarez. She's got the sixth worst inside the distance line on the slate, and she will try not to grapple here, not against Vanessa. She's going to want to keep this standing and stay on the outside. I think she has no chance at all to finish Vanessa. And if Vanessa is leveled up in her wrestling attack after training at Fight Ready, she could potentially hold Silvana to very few points by blanketing her, or getting her out of there early with a submission. So, we did see a massive hole in Silvana's game when we were in the Gomez fight. So if we see these improvements out of Vanessa, I think it's going to be a really rough night for Silvana, but we have not seen them yet. So I'm not willing to say that I really like Vanessa here. I'm saying that even if Silvana does win this fight and gets her way, I think she's got no chance to finish, and I think she's got no chance to score any grappling points. So she's a pretty easy fade for me.
Makes sense to me. Move on to the favorite dog. I'll kind of kick this one off. Yeah, for me, it's between the co-main event and the main event dogs, Figgy or Francis here. I went with Francis Ngannou, 7,800. I think if he wins, he has a very high ceiling. This is a guy that has not won a fight outside of the second round. So if he does win, I can see it being either a first or second round knockout. I personally am picking Gane to win, but I am going to chase some knockout upside with Francis Ngannou there. The hardest hitter in the division. Ciryl Gane has not fought somebody that hits as hard as Ngannou. So we'll see if he can take that shot. I think Ngannou very well has a chance here. So at 7,800, give me some knockout upside there with him. Monk, how about you? Who are you looking for a dog this week?
I mean, how do you not pick Francis Ngannou here? Obviously, if we all, we can all pick somebody different, but you're getting Francis Ngannou as an underdog. Like you just said, he's finished eight fights in the first round. Just like you, I think Ciryl Gane is going to win this fight. I do think it gets extended a bit. But for the upside alone, I mean, if he gets the win, you got to think his path to victory is first or second round knockout. That's going to score you well over 100, 110 points, most likely. So you're getting that at what, $7,800. So I think between him and his opponent, I'm going to have about 98% of this fight here. So I got to pick Ngannou as well for that one.
I like it. On top of that, I haven't done ownership yet, but you got to imagine that Ngannou is going to be lower owned than Gane and also cheaper as well. So I do like that. Weezy, how about you? Who are you liking as a favorite dog?
Yeah, I also like Ngannou, but the guy I put down was Genaro Valdez this week. I'm not a huge fan of Frivola, and Valdez has a 100% finish rate in his 10 professional wins. And Matt has been knocked down on 2% of the significant strikes he's absorbed in the UFC. So this guy is chinny. He does leave the option that you could possibly score a lot of points off of him. And then Genaro, when you watch the regional scene footage on this guy, he's got that combination of power and wrestling that you want in somebody that's going to be cheap, so that they have a potentially high upside here. Because Frivola is chinny, so he could potentially get a knockout. And if you watch Genaro, he wrestles a lot, and he does very well with it. He's not afraid to go to his wrestling. So I could see him even racking up some grappling points here on Frivola, who is more of a submission over position type of grappler. So I could see him, getting reversed on the ground as well. I think it's going to be a very high-paced fight. I think it's got a decent shot to finish here. And I think Valdez is only 7,500. So I think that's one of the better low-priced options on this slate. And the reason I put him instead of Ngannou is that Ngannou has that fantastic high ceiling, of being able to knock dudes out with one punch. But, he could also wind up doing nothing for 5 rounds while we watch Gane just dance around the outside of the cage. So, I think Genaro Valdez has a much higher floor than Francis Ngannou, while having a pretty good ceiling as well. So that's going to be the dog I'm going to be rolling with this week.
Yep, good point. Ngannou's floor is pretty horrible. But yeah, like we said, we're looking for that upside there. And yeah, I'm going to be having my fair share of Valdez. But move on to our favorite GPP play. I'll let you kick this one off. Monk, who is your favorite tournament play for this week?
I'm going to go with Mr. Tony Gravely, 8,900. He is only 2-2 in the UFC, but he does have a newcomer opponent, I believe. Who do we got here? Oliveira, is that right?
That's right. Saimon Oliveira.
So Saimon Oliveira, who does have, I think, 16 out of 18 of his wins have come by finish. His strength of schedule is not terrible for a UFC newcomer / Dana White Contender Series guy. But I like Gravely here a lot. In my opinion, or my stats tell me he's got the highest ceiling on the card. His average DraftKings points per win, if I could read my own stuff, 105.04 in 2 wins. He gives up a ton of points when he loses. So, if you're onto the DWCS guys, this is definitely one to think about. But as far as GPP, man, I like Gravely. He's not too high of a salary. I mean, he is the upper echelon at 8,900, but I also think he's going to get lost in the sauce here as far as ownership projections. He's not going to be in the teens probably, but he's, probably not going to be 30, 35. So I think you can get a little bit of variance with this Gravely pick if you want to pivot off of Vieira or Pereira or something like that. So I like Gravely here.
Sounds good to me. I like Gravely a lot, and I think he's going to come in, very low owned as well because of all the other options up there. For me, I'm going to go with Jack Della Maddalena. I mean, this guy, I'm really impressed with this guy, and this is a fight. The fight doesn't go to decision on FanDuel Sportsbook is like minus 550. So, I think this fight has a very good chance of finishing inside the distance. With Rodriguez and Jack Della Maddalena combined, I think they only have like one decision win ever. I think this fight does finish inside the distance. I think this fight does finish under a round and a half. And I think Jack Della Maddalena is going to probably get a first round finish there. So I really like the upside. The reason I would not really go there in cash is because Pete Rodriguez, although this guy only has 4 fights, this guy hits like an absolute truck. It would not shock me in the slightest if Rodriguez was able to pull off an upset as a very big dog here. But I like Jack. I like the GPP upside. So that's my favorite play there. Weezy, how about you? What is your favorite GPP play for this week?
Yeah, same thing. I'm going with that Jack Della upside, because like you said, the opponent never been past the 2.5 minute mark of the first round. And then you add in Jack, having finished 9 of his 10 wins. And I think he would have finished Lusa if Lusa wasn't so tough. I mean, that dude's got a cement head, and Jack was absolutely destroying him with some big shots to the head. But that guy is very good. And, and Lusa looks like a damn light heavyweight, not a welterweight. So I don't even know that. I thought that was a very, very impressive win for Jack Della. Add the fact then that there's a big strength to schedule advantage here for Jack Della. There's a big skill set advantage here. Obviously, the boxing for Jack is very, very good. He switches stances. He throws a bunch of different attacks, and he's got very tight guard and very nice, fast hands. So, and then you throw in the brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I think that he's just going to be better everywhere than this kid. Then you additionally throw in the short notice for Peak Dead Game Rodriguez, and it feels like a really safe, high upside GPP play here.
Yep, I like it. I could not wait for that fight. Let's shout out the chat a little bit. David in the chat saying it's been a while since he's been able to tune in. Feels great to be back. A shout to you, David. Thank you for hanging out. Alex saying, let's go easy. Alex in the chat as well. We have Adam in the chat. Brian. And then we have Trey saying, I think Monk is a good addition. I agree. Thanks for the great content, DFS and Weezy. Thank you, Trey, for hanging out here on a Wednesday. If y'all can please smash the like button, that'd be much, much appreciated. We're about to move on to our favorite cash play. I'll kick this one off. This is pretty easy for me. My cash play is going to be Ilia Topuria, 9,400. I really like this guy, and I think it's a really tough matchup for Charles Jourdain. What sticks out to me the most is going to be the takedown defense of Jourdain, sitting, I believe, around 48%. I mean, that's just a recipe for disaster against Topuria, who is a phenomenal wrestler, a legit BJJ black belt. And on top of that, Jourdain, I know he just fought about a month ago, but he's taken this fight on short notice. That's not somebody you want to take a fight short notice against. I think Topuria is going to run through him for the most part, probably get him out of there early with a submission. I think he's very safe. I think he's the biggest favorite in the card, around like minus 600 as well. So give me Topuria to go out there, shave some ass, and put up a big score. I like him a lot in cash. Weezy, how about you? What's your favorite cash play for this week?
Yeah, it's Topuria. I mean, come on. This guy is so good. I was saying earlier in the week, before watching the tape again on Topuria, I was like, well, he better be careful not to keep this standing for too long. And I forgot how good his striking is too. But he's smart. You can tell that even when he's not entirely comfortable in his striking, he goes to the wrestling, he gets the takedowns. And then once he's down there, he's got such a variety of attacks. It's not like he's just hunting for a guillotine or something like that. This guy's getting people into crucifixes. He's going for, chokes. He's going for arm bars. He's working for everything. There's really like no weakness to this guy's game. So yeah, Topuria is like, that's the free square that you start with, and then you just build around him.
Yep, can't say I disagree. Monk, how about you? What are you liking for a cash play here?
I definitely like that Topuria call. I will switch it up a little bit. Thinking either Moreno or Stamann, but I think Moreno has a better chance of winning. So I'm going to pick Moreno in his fight. 5-rounder. So you're going to get a ton of points as long as it gets extended. He's going to go for takedowns. He'll probably get some of them. He's going to land his strikes. He's going to score no matter what. And I just think the longer this goes, the more and more chance he's going to have to get on that optimal cash lineup, score you, 50 to 60 points, even if he loses any more than that. And, in your cash lineup, if you're only going to plan on 60, is going to be a cherry on top. So I think he can score pretty well in a loss. He has a pretty good floor for the most part. Yeah, almost 30 points. He's got a decent ceiling as well. And I think he has a decent chance of keeping this one close and possibly even winning. So I'm going to go with Brandon Moreno here.
Yeah, I love that cash call. I mean, what I like about Moreno the most, especially in cash, is the fact about he's never been finished in, what does he have, 24, 26 fights? This guy's as tough as they come. So even at the very least, if he does lose a decision, you got to imagine he's going to put up a very safe floor for cash there. So I like that call. We'll move on to our favorite value play. We'll start with you, Weezy. What are you liking for some value on this slate?
Yeah, it's hard to find it because everybody's so expensive this week, and a lot of the underdogs, I'm just not feeling them as great value down there. What I'm going to go with is Vanessa Demopoulos this week, and it's kind of a strange value play scenario here, but here's what I'm looking at. Vanessa hasn't looked good thus far in the UFC. She's not scoring points yet. She's a grappler that's 0 for 7 on her takedowns. And it's hard to have some faith in somebody striking when they have a 59-inch reach, and they're basically going into every single fight with like a 5-inch reach disadvantage. So I think that there's some value on her because she is priced over 8,100, and I think she'll be low owned. But the thing is that I think she understands what she needs to do differently now. And I think her opponent is going to present her with some options to be able to take the new skills that she's learning over at Fight Ready and apply them inside the cage to where she can start to get fights where she's most comfortable, which is on the ground. And if we see those improvements, those unseen improvements that we don't know are there yet, if we see them, I think she takes down Silvana and subs her in the first round and makes it look easy, in which case at 8,300, getting somebody for over 100 points with a potential first round win could be just an absolute slate breaker. So I think she could be some value because even if she doesn't finish Silvana, but she does show the wrestling improvement, this is the perfect type of opponent to rack up a ton of points, even in a decision victory, if the wrestling is going to work. So, but like I say, since we haven't seen those improvements yet, and since the previous performances at the UFC level haven't been good, I think we can get her very low owned, and I think she's got a lot of upside here.
Yep, for sure. I'll be talking about her on the next section there, so I do agree with you. For me, I'm going to go with Cody Stamann. He is 7,600. I just think this is a very close fight, and I know I made this my fade of the week, but I think Stamann can make this very close, especially if he goes to the wrestling early and often. On the feet, it's going to be Syed all day. Syed's going to have a big reach advantage, which I don't like, but Stamann, what kind of really opened my eyes about this matchup was, who Stamann's losing to, and it's legit guys, guys like Sterling, guys like Merab Dvalishvili, and guys with Jimmy Rivera, who Jimmy Rivera has one of the best takedown defense in the division. I think Stamann can make this very, very close. He has great fight IQ. He has great durability. And I think there is some value there on Stamann at 7,600. So that's my favorite value play of the week. Monk, how about you? What's your favorite value play?
This answers, it depends on how you want to define value. If you want to talk about saving money from what your guy usually costs, I'm going to go Ciryl Gane. He's coming in $800 cheaper than he usually is. His average salary is the highest on the card at $9,200. Over that, that's what he usually comes in at. He is $8,400 right here. An average value of 9.93, one of the higher ones on the card. In my opinion, he has multiple paths to victory, which brings me to my second value definition. If you're considering value, scoring points for what you're spending, then I'm also picking Ciryl Gane. He has multiple paths to victory. Like I said, he could win by decision. He could drag this out if Ngannou starts to gas. He could win by finish inside the distance. It just depends on how the fight's going. He has to obviously last the first or second round, but I'm really liking. I mean, you're getting, maybe if he wins, he could be one of the considered pound for pound, I mean, best in the world at this point, right? So you're getting that guy for $8,400. He has a huge mountain to climb here, but I do think he has a good shot.
Cannot argue that logic there. We have Big Show in the chat. What is up at Big Show? We have Sean in the chat as well. Weezy 2024. Let's go, Brady. Didn't know there was a show today. Yeah, it's usually Tuesday. Last year it was, but we moved it to Wednesday for this year. So every Wednesday at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. Weezy, are you looking forward to running for president?
Yeah, I think it's time. It's time. It was one of those things. I kind of sat down. I prayed on it for a little while. I talked with the girlfriend, and we all decided it's time. It's time. Things got to change. So yeah, let's go.
You're not old enough. You're not old. There's no way.
Oh God, you're my favorite capper now, Monk. After that comment, man,
flattery will get you everywhere.
There you go. All right. Next, we'll go with our dart throw. And Weezy kind of, said a lot about this. And I'm going to go with the Vanessa Demopoulos, 8,300. The reason being, I think she is going to be extremely low owned. I don't think anybody's really going to play this fight. And, Vanessa Demopoulos, I really, really like her grappling. I think she's either a brown belt or a black belt, but her grappling is legit. Her grappling is her bread and butter. And her wrestling is not great at all. But if this fight hits the mat in any type of way, whether she is able to get Juarez down, whether she's pulling guard, whether she's flopping to her back like she tends to do, whether Juarez decides to follow her to the mat, which would not shock me, it would not shock me at all if Vanessa Demopoulos was able to get a sub here, an early sub, and at very, very low ownership. So I will have some Vanessa Demopoulos. I think she has some solid upside at very low ownership. So that's going to be my dart throw for the week. Monk, how about you? What is your dart throw for this week?
I'm going to go with newcomer, Genaro Valdez. I mean, that is the definition of a dart throw, right? I don't know, I'm a stat guy. I don't know anything about this guy. I don't even track Dana White Contender Series fights. So the little tape I have done, how do you not like what you see out of a 10-0 guy? And he is going up against Matt Frivola, who, obviously got dispatched in 7 seconds by a newcomer, Terrence McKinney. I'm not obviously saying that's going to happen again, but Matt Frivola is $8,700. He has one of the worst values on the entire card. I don't really know what's going on with this line. I think that price is just way over inflated. So I'm going to go with Valdez here. I think he has a decent chance of winning. And yeah, I guess I'm just kind of biased on Matt Frivola after watching his past couple of fights. So
no shame in that. No shame in that at all. Weezy, how about you? What is your favorite dart throw?
I'll give you a couple this week. The first one that I thought which was an interesting dart throw, was going to be Said Nurmagomedov, because I think he's going to be very low owned. Said will be low owned because Cody is a very popular dog this week, and a lot of people are thinking that Cody's going to have a lot of high wrestling upside. The hot take that I have here is that Said might be the better grappler and wrestler here. This could potentially be a grappling heavy fight where Said wins a ton of minutes on the ground, and he can even get a KO with one of his long range spinning attacks. This is a good leverage play that has some sneaky high upside. And I think that where I'm getting this take from is pre-UFC for Said Nurmagomedov, watching him on the Russian regional scene in ACB and in Akhmat Fight Club, where you're always going to be fighting against guys that can legitimately wrestle. And, I don't think that there's anything that that Said has seen on the regional scene that he's not going to see out of Cody Stamann here. So I think that Said might actually win some of these wrestling exchanges. I think he might win some grappling points, and he's the far better rangier striker and manages distance very well as well. But also, if you want an ultimate dart throw, if you want to shock the world, how about Charles Jourdain this week? One flying knee, right? One flying knee, one front kick, one spinning heel kick that happens to land. If it does, it will shock the world, and you might be the only guy out of 50,000 with the sack to roster him. It could literally be, if he wins, you might be the only guy in the tournament with Charles Jourdain on your roster, and then you will be carried out on the shoulders of the people that you beat, and then you will stack all that cash and buy a yacht and invite your Uncle Weezy to come party with you and all the models. So that is the ultimate dart throw. I also like what one of the guys said in the chat with Pete Rodriguez, because I think he'll be super low owned too. And he's won 4 straight professional bouts inside of 2.5 minutes. So that's another great definition of a dart throw. If you're looking for ways to get different, you can punt with somebody like Rodriguez or Jordan. They both have KO power, and they're both going to be really low owned because nobody's expecting them to win. But they have that kind of high upside in a win. And we all know there's no such thing as a lock. Even if their chances are only 10% of winning, you know, if they do win, that's going to be a lineup that's cashing for sure.
Sounds good to me. Yeah, you threw out a lot of darts there. I do like that David as well. I'm going to have a decent amount of Rodriguez as a very cheap dog there. So let us go to the next thing here, our lineups. So we'll talk about how we did last week. So in last place was me. And by the way, thank you, Monk, for adding this all up. It saves me so much time. But in last place was me with that bum, Giga with 56 points, Joe Anderson, Brito 36, Brandon Royval 62. That bum, Chase Sherman 4, and then Brian Kelleher 102, TJ Brown 112, 374.53. In third place was Weezy with Giga Chikadze, Borshev with 112, Royval, Chase Sherman, Brian Kelleher, and TJ Brown with 450.95. In second place was Luke with TJ Brown, Brian Kelleher, Caitlin Chukagan, very sneaky call there, 72 DraftKings points, Joe Anderson Brito, Borshev, and then Brandon Royval with 498.32 DraftKings points, and then MMA Monk with Giga, Caitlin Chukagan, Court McGee with 110, very good call there. Bill Algio, great call, 88.26. Brian Kelleher and TJ Brown for 543.21. Congratulations, Monk. You start the year off with a win.
Woohoo! And in case anyone is confused, I know if people are out there like, that's fucking bullshit. He did not pick Caitlin Chukagian last week. I know, because I'm a super nerd and I watch this show and I take notes and I record it every week. But I did chop in the chat, the chat, switched out Brendan Royval for Chukagian, and it ended up getting me like 10 extra points. Royval actually scored less than his opponent, and he won the fight.
Yeah, that was nuts.
I needed that every day.
No, I needed Royval to outscore Jake Collier for a takedown. It makes me sick just even saying that out loud. But yeah, good job, Monk. I mean, that's awesome.
Thank you.
And yeah, lineups we give out on the show are not set in stone. You can indeed change it, and you did, and you made a really good choice there. So we'll talk about our lineups for this week. And by the way, we're going to keep track of the points each and every week. We're going to continue to add those up week after week and then give the current standings week after week. I think it'll be fun there. So, Monk, you start out in first. We'll see if you can keep it up. All right. So, lineups for this week. Weezy, do you have one ready?
I do, yeah. I'm going to go top heavy here and go with Ilia Topuria, Jack Della. Topuria is 9,400, Jack Della 9,200, Kay Hansen 8,800, and then Figgy at 7,700, Gennaro Valdez 7,500, and Simon Oliveira for 7,300.
Okay, for me, I'm probably going to change this up a little bit, but I'm doing the double. I'm doing the single stack. I'm doing Brandon Moreno 8,500, stacking with Deiveson Figueiredo 7,700. Give me Francis Ngannou 7,800, Cody Stamann 7,600, Leah Topuria 9,400, then Tony Gravely 8,900. Monk, how about you? What do you like for this? What's your line for this week?
I am going to go with Barcelos 9,300. Saeed Nurmagomedov 8,600, Ciryl Gane 8,400, Trevin Giles 8,000, Deiveson Figueiredo 7,700, and I thought I would be the only one on this guy, but Weezy called him out. Gennaro Valdez 7,500.
And then Luke, as of now, I'm sure this could change, but he's going Barcelos, Gravely, Moreno, Ngannou, Figueiredo, and Stamann. So me and Luke are like almost very, very similar there. So, yep, there you go. If anybody in the chat has any questions, type them in and we'll get to those. But next, we'll go to our quick picks. Weezy, do you have your quick picks for this week?
For sure. I'm going with Francis Ngannou in the main event. I keep mispronouncing his name. I'm going with Deiveson Figueiredo by decision. I'm going with Michel Pereira, Saeed Nurmagomedov, Rodolfo Vieira, Topuria, Barcelos, Morales, Della Maddalena, Gravely, Demopoulos, Valdez, and Hansen.
Okay, for me, I'll go with give me Ciryl Gane, give me Deiveson Figueiredo. That very well could change depending on the weigh-ins, though. Give me Michel Pereira, give me Syed Nurmagomedov, give me Wellington Turman, Elia Tapora, Hani Barcelos, Michael Morales, Jack Della Maddalena, Tony Gravely, Silvana Gomez Juarez, Gennaro Valdez, and Kay Hansen by Ash Shaving. Monk, how about you? What are you liking, or what are your picks for this week?
Man, people know, my computer is doing all my picks for me this year. Stats calculated, blah blah blah. This thing, I think, picked every single favorite. I'm going Gane, Moreno, Pereira, Nurmagomedov, Vieira by round 1 sub, Gravely by knockout, Topuria by knockout, Jack Della, Barcelos, Giles by knockout, Demopoulos, Frivola by sub, and Hansen. So yeah, I think it picked all fucking chalk pretty much. So we'll see how that goes.
I mean, Weezy's
oh no,
dog.
I did get Trevin Giles in there.
Okay, there you go. But looks like that line might potentially flip. But yeah, Weezy's dog Bootsy is definitely agreeing with you, because on Stat Diggers, Weezy's dog did not bark once, which was very weird. So Weezy's dog agrees. All favorites this week.
All right.
And he was going off, though, when I was saying I liked Said Nurmagomedov, so that worries me a little bit.
Yeah, last night, he was doing that, and then today as well. So we'll see. Bootsy might like some statements. So we'll see if I missed any questions in the chat. Then we'll head out of here. Raw Torque. Weezy, do you like this parlay? Della, Raoni, Topuria, Syed. I'm assuming it's good plus money there.
Yeah, absolutely. That one gets the Uncle Weezy stamp of approval. As a matter of fact, if you watched just the tip last night, I gave you not one, not two, but a 3-cheeked ass shaving where I am Hani Barcelos, Ilia Topuria, and Kay Hansen to all shave ass this weekend. So I like the Ronnie, I like the Topuria. If I didn't put Kay Hansen in there, my third choice would have been Della Maddalena. And I do think Saeed is gonna make this look fairly easy against Cody Stamann. So yeah, I like that parlay. That one definitely is something that I would bet as well.
Yeah, I like it as well. Picking all those to win. Monk, how about you? Do you like this parlay at all?
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't see any of those guys losing, honestly. I think Stamann's going to put up a good fight. I think most of those fights will finish, probably not the Stamann one. But yeah, I do for a 4-legger. I mean, that's pretty good. Like we said, you got to kind of build those this week because every line is so freaking wide. The only value you're going to get on some of these fighters is if you parlay them with each other and hope the ghost of Amanda Nunes isn't haunting the octagon.
Sure. David saying thoughts on fading Barcelos considering Henry has never been finished. Well, Henry is very, very tough. He's never been finished, but this will be his toughest competition to date by a significant margin. So it would not completely shock me if he did finish Henry. But for me, I wouldn't fade Barcelos. I mean, I like Topuria more. I like Jack Della Maddalena more. But Barcelos is definitely up there. Weezy, any thoughts on potentially fading Barcelos? And I don't think Barcelos is going to have a ton of ownership either.
Yeah, I don't see him having a ton of ownership, to be honest with you. But yeah, I'm not fading him. He's just one of those fighters that he reminds me a lot of Jose Aldo, in where if Jose wasn't doing mixed martial arts, I think that he could be a fantastic boxer, a great wrestler, and a great Brazilian jiu-jitsu competitor. He puts it all together so well, and Hani is exactly like that. Hani's boxing is top-notch. Hani's wrestling is top-notch. His Brazilian jiu-jitsu is top-notch. And when he's on the feet, it's not just the hands. That dude's calf kicks wreck people's ability to be able to put weight on that front leg. So everything that Hani does is just so damn good. I'm not fading that dude. I'm not fading him against a lot of people, much less a debutant.
Monk, you have the stats. In terms of Barcelos, when he's winning, is he paying off the 9,300 typically?
Oh yeah, he gets an average value of over 10. In fact, almost 10.5, 10.36. Really that good. Is the second highest, only to Topuria, and Barcelos has double the fights. He has 6 fights. It's hard to keep your average value up that high, especially when you have a loss. In his loss, he scored 52.5 points. He's got a high ceiling for me. I am really hoping Barcelos is underowned because I'm going to have a ton of him here for sure.
And that's why I like having Monk on the show. Last week, I was not going to have a ton of Court McGee, but Monk reassured me that when Court McGee wins, he's scoring a lot, and my goodness, did he ever. David saying, any thoughts on Jazz Devicious as a dog? Yeah, we didn't talk much about the Hansen-Jazz Devicious fight. Monk, we'll start with you. Any thoughts on Jazz Devicious as a dog?
Not specific thoughts to her, just thoughts about fading Kay Hansen. She is 1-1 here. Her salary is $8,800. She has an okay value of just over 7. She only and she's only had 1 win and 1 loss. So in her 1 win, she only put up 78 points. She's gonna have to show me in this fight before I really consider laying a bunch of ownership on somebody like that, when this fight could very easily go all 3 rounds and the winner scores 60 points. So she's just gonna have to prove it to me before I really commit in this case. So in my opinion, you could have maybe not the same exposure to both of them, but I'm definitely not fading Jasmine to 0 here. No, sir.
Yeah, I might have a little bit. I'm not crazy about the fight as a whole on DraftKings. Weezy, how about you? Any thoughts on Jazz Devicious as a dog?
Yeah, well, so okay, I don't like this matchup for her. I don't like her this week as a dog, but I think Jasmine has a really nice combination of skill sets. I just think it's a nightmare matchup for her. When your base is wrestling, you need to be able to take that fight to the ground and win minutes there in order to feel safe that you're going to be comfortable when you're fighting. Taking down Kay Hansen's just an absolutely terrible idea. She's not just a brown belt. She's a 10th planet brown belt. Those guys are a nightmare from their backs. And not only is Kay really good on top too, like when you see Kate wrestling, she's chaining together takedown attempts, and she's doing it at a very young age. We got to look through the Kay Hansen lens from the fact that, this girl is going 3 rounds with Erin Blanchfield when she was a 20-year-old. When she was 20, Jasmine Jazz Devicious had not even started training mixed martial arts yet. And this girl's going 3 rounds and losing a majority decision to Erin Blanchfield. So I don't like this matchup. I think that when she's on the feet, Jasmine, she's very hittable, and that's going to be a problem as well with Kay. If Kay pressures her, I think it's going to be very easy for Kay to win minutes on the feet and win minutes on the ground. I want to see what Jasmine's takedown defense looks like. If it's not great, I think she's going to be in a whole heap of trouble here. I like Jasmine. I just think that this is the wrong matchup for her.
Sounds good to me. Talking about height in the chat there. Oh, I missed one.
Yeah, she's much bigger. Jasmine's much bigger. She's the natural 125er, while Kay is really more of a natural 115er. But that's still, when you have that big reach disadvantage and height disadvantage, it makes it easy for your coaches to say the best way to deal with that is to pressure. And Kay's going to be at her best when she's pressuring anyway. So like I say, I think that reach advantage and that height advantage means a lot more against somebody that's willing to strike and not willing to grapple. That's not the case with Kay Hansen.
Yeah, for sure. Sean saying, Weezy, you got any shows tonight? I came in late onto this one.
Yeah, I'm going to do that Balls Deep breakdown on Cody Stamann versus Said Nurmagomedov at 10 o'clock Central Time on my channel. It's going to basically be me bouncing ideas off of Bootsy's head, because Bootsy seems to be on Stamann. I'm on Said Nurmagomedov. I'm going to discuss it with the chat and see if Bootsy and we can't work this out and come to an agreement.
I think I make it simple for both you and Bootsy. Just the fight goes to decision, maybe as a parlay piece.
Yeah, that one does feel pretty safe. Yes.
All right. So I think that is about it. I guess we'll get out of here. So Monk, let the people know where they can find you. I know you've been doing content already throughout the week. So yeah, let them have it.
For sure. Go ahead and check me out on YouTube. Help me increase those subscribers, baby. It's that season. Got to get them up there. Ooh. I just did put out game theory video. Unfortunately, I put it out yesterday, so I did not have 4 of the salaries yet, but I did break down as much as I could for DraftKings. So be sure to check that out, get your stats in, and visit teamriserfall.com. Use code MONK, save some money, and let's get some takedowns this week, guys. I had a pretty good week last week. We got 13 fights here, lots and lots of variants. I want to see some of our chat up in those top 10s, top 5s there, getting some money. So let's go.
Let's do it. Yeah, I almost had a monster week if it wasn't for Jake Collier. So that sucks. So hopefully there's no Jake Collier on this slate. Cannot have that happen again. Weezy, let them know where they can find you, what you have going on throughout the week. Like you said, you're going live tonight, and then you had a nice podcast yesterday as well.
Yeah, for sure, man. And I mean, I would have had a monster week last week if it weren't for Giga Chikadze and Chase Sherman and Joe Anderson Brito. And, well, I mean, I could go on, but yeah. You can find me on my channel here on YouTube, Uncle Weezy. You can find me on Pub Sports Radio every Sunday night for Stat Diggers with Brady, every Tuesday night for this show. I'm going to be doing a live show tonight, 10 p.m. Central Time. And yeah, and I just got to 1,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel, which was just a huge milestone for me to hit. So I'd like to thank everybody that has watched my videos, subscribed to my channel. God bless each and every one of you guys for spending your Tuesday evening with us. And I can't wait to do it again next week. Let's stack cash tickets like flapjacks on UFC 270. And I want to see somebody in this chat getting a takedown.
Let's do it. Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter, DFS_numbers, Instagram, DFS by the numbers. My full card breakdown prediction video is posted. Draftkings video coming out tomorrow. I'm going live on Friday, 7 o'clock Eastern time, and then live Saturday, 1 hour before the card starts with Weezy, Eric Betts fights, and Narco Cop as well. So that's but it, guys. Leave a like on the way out. Appreciate all of you for hanging out every Wednesday, 7 o'clock. Good luck for UFC 270.